Welcome to Design to Thrive. In today's episode, we're sitting down with the incredible Darren Reeves, founder of DPDC, also known as DP Distribution and Consulting. From becoming a doctor to building a seven-figure consulting firm, Darren's journey is nothing short of inspiring. He's traveled the world, helped shape industry regulations, and built a life and business alongside his wife. You're not going to want to miss this one. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everybody. This is Design to Thrive. We have a special guest on our show. His name is Darren, Mr. Reeves. He's with DPDC, also known as DP Distribution Consulting. So welcome, Darren.
Great. Thank you, Ngoc. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So we're going to kick it off with the story of how you came to be with DPDC. And you can tell us a lot about what your come up looked like and where you are now. So what's the story behind DP Distribution?
That's an interesting one. It's a long one, but I'll make it short. Basically went to college wanting to become a doctor. And so I went through college, and actually the year between my junior and senior year, I actually went to go work at a hospital and realized I don't want to be a doctor. Their lives were wonderful for their families, but the doctors themselves were at the hospital all the time. So I decided not to do that. So I ended up with a biology degree and wanted to stay into medicine in the medical field. And I'm in Richmond, Virginia. So I got a job with about a $20 million company, medical device manufacturer. They actually made surgical kits, and started out as a QA inspector, a quality assurance inspector on the floor of that organization, and learned all about medical devices, including sterilization. They had ethylene oxide sterilizers on site, and me being a biologist, it just fascinated me. So as we were growing the company, we started growing through acquisitions, and I started growing through the organization, became the director of quality and regulatory, and started going through and doing due diligence with a lot of the companies that we were going to go buy, which also got me a well-rounded experience as to how a lot of different companies did the same thing. So it gave me a unique experience. About the same time, the FDA was getting ready to change their regulations. And so I was, being in Richmond, Virginia, we were very close to Washington, D.C. So I was a very integral part as they were doing that into the industry groups that they were working with. And all that being nice and boring, I also went through and got my MBA at the same time. So that was all fun. And the cool thing about that was I was able to actually do the MBA and go into the individual departments of the organization for the 6-8 weeks that we were doing those particular areas, and got a huge, well-rounded experience on a growing company as I was getting the MBA. So we went through that, and all of a sudden I realized I was starting to travel a whole bunch. And at that point, I had 3 kids, and I was starting to watch them grow up two-dimensionally on the pictures on my desk. And I'd go travel to not only domestically, but internationally. And it was a lot of fun to travel back in the early days, but it wasn't fun being away from the family. So I started thinking about, well, I can do this by myself. And at the same time, I was over the complaints of all 9 domestic facilities and 7 international facilities that we had had acquired at that point in time. So I knew where all the skeletons were for a lot of different companies. And they started asking me, hey, can you come in and help me fix this problem? Hey, can you come help me fix this challenge? Hey, we just had an audit and we got an issue. Can you come help me fix that? And that's how DP started. I actually went through and hung out my shingle, and it's actually in Y2K. That's how far back it was. In 2000, I hung out my shingle, put resignation in. They actually asked me to stay for an extra 2 months, which was one of the few people they ever did that with. And so I did, as I started the business and never looked back. Here we are 25 years later, and 7-figure business, and it's been wonderful.
Wonderful, yeah. Now, are you working alone, solopreneur, or you have a team behind you?
Well, in 2000, I started out and I had an assistant. I did hire an assistant, and that was about the entire organization until about 2017, I think. And we grew it to a nice 6-figure company, but then that's where we wanted to leave it. And then at that point, I found my actual bride today, Susan, who joined the team, and we also actually hired 2 additional employees during COVID, which was crazy. And so now we've got a small team, and we've got about 60 to 70 1099 resources that we can pull in at any time. Although, with that being said, there might be 12 to 15 of them that we would consider what we call DP material, which is something that we look for both in the people that we bring on to work with us and the ones that we go to work for. And it simply means they're personable. We like working with them. They like working with us. It's a good fit. And we've been blessed enough that we turn down people that we don't want to work with. So it's kind of a neat little niche to be in.
Okay. So your wife and you are a team. You guys work together, travel together.
We are. Absolutely. We're pretty much, it's funny because when people can't get a hold of me, well, actually now they don't even try to get a hold of me. They get a hold of her because they know we're side by side. Whether it be on a plane, in a hotel room, or wherever it may be, we've actually tell people we're professional travelers for a living. So we basically go take care of our clients, and whether it be in West Palm Beach where we stay an extra day to go swim with the sharks in the Gulf, or we go to Budapest to speak and we spend a day touring London, or we went to Australia, Melbourne, I think back in February of last year, and we did stayed there a couple of extra days and did a wine and wildlife tour. So that's how we make sense out of all this crazy travel. But it's great. It's wonderful doing life with your best friend and making money.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, you just explained a few things you've done traveling. I mean, what's your role like day to day?
Oh gosh, there really is no set role. Basically, we kind of normally leave out of our base, whether that be Richmond or wherever else we're at, on Mondays. We'll go to the clients on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and then do whatever they need done in the medical device world. It might be sterilization. It might be doing an internal audit. It might be supporting an audit. It might be uh, actually going through their procedures and helping them update and streamline things. That's what we do. We're very good at it. And then we'll fly home on Fridays, and we take the weekend to ourselves. And if we're home, we don't travel to a client. It's basically kind of the same thing, just remotely. We'll get up, answer our emails, deal with what client issues we have. Uh, these days, for the last probably 2 years, we've really been hot and heavy working LinkedIn and doing podcasts, and not pretty much doing YouTube videos. We've got, shoot, I've done probably 100 YouTube videos on some of our topics. Susan's done several. Part of our team members have done some. So we're really trying to get the word out on some of the changes that are coming out in our industry. So that's been fun, been interesting. Got a little green screen room up in our house where we do some of those YouTube videos, and have a videographer in our editor in Pakistan who helps us put those together.
Awesome. So I'm curious to know, like, what drew you to the world of the medical device compliance space?
It kind of drew me. It was really, like I said, wanted to be a doctor, and with my biology background, microbiology background, the sterilization piece of it that was in the industry was really, really a interesting topic for me. And the rest of it just came easy. We're kind of like lawyers for the medical device world. I understand it. The other thing that we pride ourselves in is also the DP material is we try to speak plain English. A lot of those consultants in our industry, they like to use a lot of big words, if you will, when all it does is confuses people, especially our clients. So we like to be able to, we understand the big words, we know what they mean, but we then have to convert that into the language our clients can understand, because most of them are salespeople or CEOs. They don't know the language. They don't want to know
What towards the topics of trends, what trends are you currently seeing in the regulatory space right now?
Well, as tell you what, we have had a lot of luck with the AI. The AI has been something that's been really exciting for us, and it's simply because, as you know, it does what we can do about 10 times, or about 10,000 times faster.
Oh yeah,
And so there's a lot of research. There's a lot of stuff that we have to keep up with. There's a lot of things that, okay, there's a lot of noise out there, and the AI is
oh yeah.
really good at, searching the FDA's database for issues that are going on today that we can make sure our clients don't have those issues. going out and making sure that we know what the top issues are in our field so that we can use that information to support our clients. Those are the kinds of things that we're really excited about now. I want to say it's in its infancy. We all know it's been around for decades, but it's now really a hot topic, and people actually being able to use simple forms of that. Things like recalls and post-market surveillance, and all these kinds of things that we have to do in our industry, we can do so much faster now. It's exciting.
Are your clients pushing for more digital or automated options?
Funny, we had one of our associates had went to a client about 6 months ago, and he said, "Look, I don't need you anymore. I can do this." And he said, "Write a procedure on this particular topic." And of course, the AI did it. And we looked at him and said, "Okay, but you probably still need us." He said, "You're right. I still need you. It could put out the words, but look at the words. They're big words. I don't know what the words mean. It can write a procedure, but can it help me implement it? Can it help me streamline it? Can it help me customize it to my particular process?" I said, "No, it can't do that." So so they're not really looking for more automation, just think ways to help things move faster. I'll give you another example. This is a really cool one. We were up in Chicago with a client who had a problem with their distributors. And she said, "Oh, can you help me write a letter to the distributor so that we can send it out to the rest of them so they can make sure they don't have that problem as well?" And she said, "Well, I can then translate it into Chinese." I said, "Sure." I said, "Watch this." And so I had the AI actually create the supplier letter because it was fairly simple. And I said, "Now watch this." And it converted it into Chinese, which is fully Chinese. And so she read it and it was perfect. It was almost perfect. And so she was absolutely floored by that and loved it. So that was just a great example of technology and how things are happening. You can do that with user manuals. We can do that with instructions. We've got a client now that he's doing a video talking through the process, and we were able to take that video and using AI and create it into a work instruction for that particular process, which was very cool.
Awesome. So what's working really well in your business right now besides AI?
Well, one of the good things that's working for us is this whole change in the FDA regulations. Like I said, it happened back in 1997, and it was a disaster. So now we are doing our YouTube videos, really helping people understand what's going on and getting that word out is what's really helping our business right now.
And where do you hit the most friction internally or with clients?
It's always with clients. Yeah, we actually have we have an acronym. We call it the PFE, PITA. It's the pain in the you know what. And
Yeah.
so sometimes we actually apply a PITA fee to some of our clients or would be clients if they have individuals in there that may not be DP material.
All right. Do you use any platforms or tools for compliance or workflows?
Yeah, actually, we're using Airtable, and we're just now switching over to HubSpot, which we like. It's helping on the sales and tracking our quotes and leads type activities. So the workflow it's actually good for creating the tickets and the tasks to give us reminders as to what we need to do. But another unique story, one of my initial assistant years ago, unfortunately, had a massive heart attack sitting at her desk at one day in her house. And she had all our files and all the stuff that she was working on. And her husband was able to grab her computer and just bring it to me. But it was a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't know what was going on. So
Right, right.
my key, and also one of the things we really do, it's a unique perspective I've got. But when we go into clients, we don't want to write things down just to write things down. It's business continuation. It's just to protect the owner of the company. When something happens, when somebody leaves, when somebody wins the lottery, whatever it is, they've got to have that business continuation. And so we've implemented that here at DP as well. We want to make sure if one of our 1099s is working on something or one of our associates is working on something and something happens, it's not going to affect the client. And that's important to us.
Okay, perfect. Now, Darren, what are your big goals for the next year or two?
The biggest goal is we want to triple our business. And we want to do that by helping as many people as we can understand this change is going to happen February 2nd of next year so that those clients don't get caught and get in trouble. Because what most people don't realize, in the medical device industry, that's basically making medical products, most people think of those big 2 and 3 letter companies out there. Well, 80% of the medical device manufacturers are small companies, 100 employees or less, and they can't even keep up with all the regulations. A lot of them don't even know this is going to happen. And so we had a client back in the 90s. He called me up and said, Darren, I just got a warning letter, got in trouble with the FDA, and I'm doing the exact same thing today that I did 5 years ago, the last time they came in. I said, well, that's why you got it, is because they changed the rules on you and you didn't even know it. So that's what we're trying to avoid right now, is getting that word out, getting our clients to where they understand what's happening, and that we can go in and help make sure that that doesn't happen.
Because there's, I mean, as far as you know, how many compliance regulatory bodies are out there, and how many consulting firms are there for those regulatory bodies?
Gosh, there's probably 80% of the market is maybe 12, 13,000 little medical device manufacturers, and that's just U.S. We're talking also
Right.
internationally. And
That's
of the
right.
consulting firms, we've got a niche. We're kind of a boutique consulting firm, if you will. The people in our industry usually they come and go pretty quickly. It's usually the person who they got laid off, and so they can hang out a shingle, and they know enough people that they can go out and say they can do consulting. And they're usually really good at what they do, but they don't know how to build a business. And so it's that whole feast and famine where they get a big whale, and the company pays them for a year or maybe 2 years, but they've never built a pipeline. They don't know how to actually go out and market the company. And so, as we said, we've been around for 25 years, so we're pretty good at that. So our competition is actually very low.
Okay, perfect. Where do you think AI could make the biggest impact for you?
Gathering data, absolutely gathering data, and creating and analyzing the data to get rid of the noise. We were working with a developer who is doing some AI stuff, and he came to me and said, okay, what would be the best thing that you could use this for? I said, quite honestly, in our industry, we have to do a management review periodically. Most companies do it annually. And the whole purpose of that is to go in, look at your systems, and make sure that senior management knows what's going on. Well, one of the things that we do for that management review is we go out into the data, external data, and pull in sources to say, here's what's going on with your type of device, but with your competitors. And it takes a lot of time to do that. Now with AI, we can have a report done in 5 minutes. It's actually really cool. With recalls, go out there and say, okay, what kind of recalls have happened with this device? It takes a lot of time to do that manually. With AI, it doesn't. So it's going to be very, very helpful. It's going to be a huge influx of information and also getting rid of the noise.
Okay. Now I have one last question for you, Darren. If you had an unlimited budget, where would you invest it first?
Well, I'd invest it in my wife and take her somewhere she wants to go. But other than that, um, actually, it would probably be marketing and also hiring some good people that were DP material.
So that brings it close to our show. Thank you, Darren, for coming on.
Great. Thanks so much. See you next time.